Hi folks, I hope you're well. This video is going to be talking about, well, the devils are one of his joys. Knowing that he's got basically most of the world completely distracted about their own path by focusing on the other side. So if you're left wing, you focus on the right. You focus upon their sins and what they're doing that's in your mind evil, and you preach that. You preach about their evil. You want people to condemn and judge and condemn them and what they're doing, what they're saying, what they're doing. And if you're right wing, you do the opposite. You want to think that the left, the liberals, or whatever you consider them to be, are absolutely pure evil. Well, isn't it a case that they are? Okay. Both the left and the right. We'll talk purely America for a second, okay? Both the left and the right in America, both the right wing and left wing, are brainwashed into thinking certain things that are absolute rubbish, that are not true and never have been true, but both are being led to be brainwashed by organisations set up by the devil to do this very thing. That because of the brainwashing that they've had, they focus on the opposite, trying to destroy the opposite, because they see the opposite as them, part of the brainwashing, the opposite of them as absolute evil. The right wing in America, right? If we're talking about the Christian right voted in Trump twice. Twice. They voted in someone who's a proven liar, who they know is a liar. They know he's a womanizer. Right? They know he's talked about grabbing women by the pussy. So basically just going up to a woman and grabbing her crotch, rubbing her vagina. He's talked about doing that. Now, to most right-wing men, that's abhorrent. That's an abhorrent thing to do, to imagine doing that. They would go absolutely ape if someone did that to their wife or their daughter. But they voted in a man twice who would do that. Who he said he would blinking well do that, right? Someone who is proven as a very highly dishonest man. Right? Only because they believe the left, the Democrats, liberals, whatever, are absolutely and totally evil. And so therefore, they will vote for someone like Trump rather than allow these evil people to run their country. Right? The reality is, neither side is particularly evil. Not really. No. No. All sides are full of people that are just trying to do the best they can with the life they have. Both sides. Both sides are people that are highly misunderstood, that really have no real understanding or knowledge of the other side or the truth of the other side. Even really the truth of their own arguments. You can speak to someone who's right wing and speak to them about guns. You can say, okay, should there be gun control? Now, initially, they'd be like, I don't know. Obviously, there should be some. But as soon as you start speaking about gun control, the more you talk about it, the more they would get angry and point out all the left wants to do is come and steal their guns. Right? Because that's been part of the propaganda that's been spoken to them by groups like the NRA. Right? And, yeah, look into it a bit closer. You'll see the NRA couldn't care less about guns. Not in the sense of that people have the right to bear arms. What they care about is money. It's all about money. Because behind every gun sale are the gun manufacturers and sellers who all make money. They're the ones who set up the NRA. Right? Yeah. And, yeah. Well, it's not just the NRA. There's quite a few organisations that are there spreading the propaganda for that. Well, I've watched a little bit of Fox, the main Fox channel. And yeah, so many of the things you hear on Fox is just insane. But with the left, they're the ones who have pushed the gender issue. They're the ones who have pushed that into schools, encouraging school kids to change genders. They've made it illegal for parents to do sod all about it. They're the ones who have turned colleges and into safe space places, and basically now, you know, places that Israeli people feel scared to go to. They were the ones who turned colleges into weaker places because they basically said, okay, because there's not enough African Americans, there's not enough brown skinned people in college, we're going to say that, okay, if you're brown skinned and you get 40% of the result that someone who is pinky skinned or Asian gets, we're going to admit you as if you're equal to them. As if you are. Even if you only got 40% of what they got. We're going to say that that's good enough for you to get in. But therefore causing a problem with the colleges when you've got a lot of people failing the courses because of course they weren't qualified to do them. So you're causing problems for yourself in the long run. And all this crap about anti-Israel, it's all to do with the propaganda that they've been under. And both sides have been under propaganda. Both sides fully believe that the propaganda, well, if you are someone who is brown skinned and you were brought up in a poorer area in America, you would have been told that there is something called white privilege. And it doesn't matter how strong you are in character, they will never let you succeed. And the police just want to kill you. You've been told all those things, none of which is true. Right? None of that was ever true. Any of it. But they were told that, and it was all propaganda. Helping them to believe so that they would vote a certain way, so that would act a certain way. And it's all been driven. But it's all been lies. So it's all come from the devil because, when what people are being told is lies in a propaganda sort of way, and it's being fed. Well, those who are brown skinned believe that more brown skinned people get killed by police. That just isn't true. They believe that more brown skinned people get arrested by police. Again, that just isn't true. But if you're talking about per population, per amount of people that are of that skin colour, it is true, but it is true because of crime committed. But they believe it's committed because of their skin colour, because of their disadvantage with regards to white privilege, etc. None of it is that. None of it. The reason why police have more of a problem with brown-skinned people is because the police are also given this propaganda that those brown-skinned people, they want to kill you, and that isn't true either. So you have all of this going on. It creates a mess. And so recently we had that mess, didn't we? It ended up with Black Lives Matter and all of that. Ended up with areas of America basically sucking most of their police, and then having, crimes such as murder go massively up. Because of it. Again, it's all propaganda. It's all because people have been fed bullshit. And fed that over time. Continuously over time. So their belief systems is these lies are true. That's why people started talking about my truth. Because they were being fed something as truth that was not true, that was a lie. But it was indeed their truth because it was their understanding of truth. But both sides, right and left, have had that. So, there we are. How do you deal with it? Well, understand it. Question it. Understand where it's coming from. If lies are being taught, look, if you think the other side is believing something that's completely untrue, then you must therefore understand that maybe your side is also under the same sort of spell. Because whoever bothered to put them under the spell, probably they put you under it as well. So there you go. I wish you well. You take care. God bless. I'll speak to you soon. Be blessed. And if you are one of these people, get right with God. Go to Father. Ask Father what it is you have to do to get right with Him. And do that, whatever it is. Not doing it. Yeah, the cost of not doing it is too high. So you take care. God bless. I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye. Be blessed.